Hello, everyone. Welcome to Celebrate Black Excellence. I am your digital host, Carlton T. Clay. Today, I'm here with the special guest. He calls himself the serial entrepreneur, here with Mr. Antwon Davis. How you doing today, Antwon?
Doing well, man. Glad to be here.
Yes, thank you so much for being here for Celebrate Black Excellence. It's good to talk to you. It's been a minute, man, since we actually talked to each other. I know Antwon, ladies and gentlemen. We went to Georgia State University together, and it's been a minute since I've actually seen you, so it's good to see you on today's platform.
Yeah, man. It's been a while. Been a while back in college days. So definitely remember that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, as I introduced you, you call yourself the serial entrepreneur. Can you please elaborate on that? And what is a serial entrepreneur?
A serial entrepreneur is someone who has delved into more than one type of business venture. So, it doesn't have to necessarily be in the same industry, it can be across different industries, but someone who is known for starting up different businesses, maybe even selling businesses, acquiring businesses, but you own more than one type of business. And so I've gotten started, actually started while I was at Georgia State doing graphic design. And upon graduating my senior year, I launched a digital branding and marketing agency called Fourth Park. And we'll be celebrating actually, what's today? Today's the 24th. Today is actually our 12-year anniversary.
Wow.
So we've been in business for 12 years. January 24th is when I got the actual paperwork from the Secretary of State that the LLC was approved and filed. So we've been in operation legally since January 24th, 2012. So celebrating 12 years. And that was my first business. And I've been growing that. We got a team of about 12 of us. And I'm actually in our office space now. This is like a whole creative studio space that we have in East Point. But I went on to launch a couple of other business ventures. One is a real estate company that I own called Enclave Co-Living. So I run that now. We have a couple of properties that I purchased, but we also offer like property management for people who are looking for a more alternative way or style of positioning their properties for rentals. So we don't do traditional rentals or short term. We do co-living. And then I got a tech company that I started with a business partner of mine called Spendefy some years ago. We went viral, got on CNN, got a lot of press and coverage. We were like the first dope Black business directory to go viral in a long time. So that was back in 2016. And then I have a couple of like other smaller businesses that support the businesses that I have now, like a web hosting and domain name provider company called Cloudberry that kind of works underneath my Fourth Park agency. So I have a couple of businesses that I run. And then the last thing is I recently started a music agency with my brother and a good friend of ours. So we all got together and started this music agency where we focus on providing services to independent artists. And we just had an awards show that we hosted in January, a couple of weeks ago. So that's a business I have equity in. But I have several companies that I now run. So that's what I do.
Yeah, that's a lot. And I see why you are the serial entrepreneur, because that is definitely a lot.
Right.
Well, first of all, congratulations on 12 years. That's awesome. That's definitely awesome.
Thank you.
Why did you pick the name Fourth Park? What's significant about that name?
Well, when I started out my journey in Georgia State, I was trying to find my major. And at first I came in with this whole desire to go after like sound engineering, music production, but I did not like Georgia State's music program. So I switched over to business and maneuvered through that until I landed on marketing. I actually fell in love with like marketing. So I graduated with a bachelor's degree in marketing. But while I was at school, I have those 4 years, I wanted to go through this kind of like 4-step process of developing and finding not only my passion, but also like, what am I going to do in the marketplace? Because I don't just want to get a degree and then just wait on a job. Like I want to come out the door with experience, with like a portfolio. So I got into graphic design. I wasn't even trying to do that. I got into graphic design by helping out the church that I was at the time at New Birth. I was doing graphic design for the college ministry. And I just started meeting a need. And the next thing you know, other needs came up. And before you know it, I had so much clientele that I was juggling clients, school projects and assignments and a girlfriend all at the same time. And I ended up like missing out on a lot of work because I couldn't manage it all, which is why I started this agency. But in the fourth phase of me kind of deciding that this is what I wanted to do, it was like me wanting to plant a flag. Like in this fourth phase of my college matriculation, I want to park and plant a flag here. I'm going to build this. I'm going to put my interest and time and energy and 10,000 hours on building this idea. And so that's where the name Fourth Park kind of comes from. But the word park also is symbolic of a place that people come and gather from all walks of life. People go to parks to relax, to connect. It's a place where people feel, free of a lot of the stresses of life. And I want our clients, when they come to Fourth Park, it feels that way. So that's why our brand color is like green, representing like the park. At some point, I want to get some grass turf somewhere. When we have meetings with clients, we can bring them onto the grass turf and sit down on the grass turf and meet, Indian style, take our shoes off and meet. Because I'm very much so into not just the work we do, but how we do it. And this sense of alignment. And I think a lot of people in corporate America just are so stressed with the day-to-day of trying to like keep your job and perform that when they get to us, you can feel the stress. I'm like, when you get in these meetings with us, we're trying to bring that stress level down. Like, we're going to get the work done, but how are you doing today first? How's everything? How are the kids? So like that's part of the ministry side of Fourth Park, but that's kind of where the name came from. And last thing, the number 4 in the Bible is the number of creativity.
Okay.
So it all kind of has symbolism for me.
And I figured that's why I asked. And like I said, just knowing you all these years, and of course when I first met you, you've always been this descriptive and this, like, honestly, your heart has always been like this. So this is nothing new. Right. It's just elevated. That's all. That's all it is. Right. Yeah. So it's a beautiful thing to see how you've elevated in your career, and not just in your career, just personally. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's definitely awesome. Now, how did you you're welcome. Now, how did you get involved with real estate?
Well, when at my age, I had read Rich Dad Poor Dad many years ago. And I mean, you can't really get around wealth in terms of just this general way of how people accumulate wealth without crossing the path of real estate. Is one of the best tried and true assets, because there's only so much land we have and population continues to grow. So the value of property goes up. And so I knew I wanted to get into real estate. I just didn't know how. But here's the thing. It was 2018. Well, it was coming into 2018, around 2018. I'm from Albany, Georgia, and Albany State University is in Albany. And I was hearing a lot of like reports and news that they were dealing with a housing shortage. There were students coming to school and they didn't have dorms available. So some students were having to like go to other schools or like not participate because there was really like not a strong virtual. It was only after COVID that all the universities had to figure out virtual like education, like at scale. But at the time, they didn't really have a lot of that set up. So there was a housing shortage. And I was like, I'm going to buy me some property in my hometown. So I'm in Atlanta learning about this. And I decided to like, let me try to go and get like my first property. So I had already been kind of setting money aside. I knew I wanted to do real estate at some point, but wasn't sure. But that was the why. It was like, here's a need I can meet. So I purchased that first property. In Albany, the market is just way cheaper. I bought a 4-bedroom house, already renovated, everything done for under $50,000. The house was like $45,000 and 4 bedrooms. And like the mortgage is like under like $500 a month. And we were able to rent the rooms out at $600 a month, everything included, utilities, internet, everything included. So the margins are just amazing. And so I bought that house. A year later, I bought the second house. And just the goal of just knowing that each house is like a mini bank. It's me putting money in, and every time that mortgage is getting paid down, I'm owning more equity of the home, which in turn just becomes a bank in a sense. Right. If I need to take money out to get another property, I can. But long term, I just know that in order to build wealth, it's important that you diversify. It's not just, doing business, but like I also have money inside of like, stocks. I got like a Roth IRA and a SEP IRA. So I'm into like, investing in that regard. Then I got into real estate and I jumped into crypto early, back in 2013 and bought like some Bitcoins. I'm not going to say much more about that because right now Bitcoin is extremely expensive. Right. But it's been a beautiful day because I was in it when it was under $500 a coin. So, but just me knowing as a young Black man years ago that like, we weren't set up to achieve wealth, and my family didn't come from that kind of background. And I just wanted to do something different. So just me learning and like, I'm gonna read the books they won't read. I'm gonna watch CNBC and watch the stock market shows because nobody else is watching that. That really was my catalyst. It's like, let me learn things that I didn't grow up learning so that I can bring information to my family and friends. And I've helped a lot of people like start investing. I got several friends of mine who are in the crypto. Every girlfriend I got with from 2013 up until now, they all investing in crypto. I'm showing people how to invest, how to like build wealth. because I believe that's important. It's not what you make, it's what you keep that determines your wealth. And like, we make a lot, but we don't keep a lot. We spend a lot. So that's how it all started. Like, I want to buy more properties, partner with more real estate people, investors, and build a nice portfolio so that, my family be taken care of and we can provide housing for people in various parts of the country.
Right. And that's the one thing about you, like I said, that I know, that you've always been a student. You've always wanted to learn, and you've always wanted to share your knowledge. That's the one thing I definitely remember about you when we were back in college, for sure. Now, you talked about spending. You have Spendefy, and your theme is spending differently. Can you please talk about that particular business?
Yeah, so I've done a lot of work with the King Center. I know Elder Bernice King personally. Her brother, Dexter King, he just passed away like the other day, I think on Monday. And so that's like a big thing right now that they're dealing with their family, to lose a sibling like that. And I've spent a lot of time at the King Center. I went through Dr. King's Kenyan nonviolent philosophy, did training with them. My agency, we built the brand with the King Center for their basically, it was at the time, it was called Camp Now. It was their summer experience to engage millennials and young adults with Dr. King's philosophy, just so that the message doesn't get lost in this current generation. So in all of that process, you learn that like one of the last things Dr. King talked about was economics. He was trying to move us toward this whole economic shift, that we really need to get control of our economic footing and get control of our dollar. He talked about spending black and shopping black back then. And that chapter of the civil rights movement didn't get to unfold because he was immediately killed. Like, I think not too long after he gave one of those speeches, he talked about that in his last speech heavily, and he was killed not too long after that. So my former business partner and I, we were putting our heads together. This was in the midst of Black Lives Matter, Trayvon Martin, all this stuff that was happening. It's like, we need to figure out a way that we can like build an economic footing, because America doesn't really care about even your skin color like that. It cares about your dollar. The color issue is the green color, and a lot of times we don't have a say-so, not because we don't march well enough, but we haven't taken our dollar collectively and positioned it as a power play. And I wanted to be a part of doing something about that. So we got together and came up with this concept called Spendefy, define the way you spend, this whole shifting the psychology of your spending. Like, what if you knew that your dollar was your protest? What if you knew that your dollar was your economic weapon? That is not just something you do to just buy things, but where you spend it and how you spend it can shift governments. And if we could get around that collective understanding economically, not only will we be able to build ourselves up, we can overnight extract dollars out of brands and companies that we don't believe support us. Like, we could immediately move our dollar somewhere else. That ability to flatten the company or bring it to its knees, to me, is a powerful thing. And if used the right way, we can shift society overnight. You ain't got to march. You don't even have to vote. You just buy your politicians. You use your dollar and buy who you want in office, because that's technically what these lobbyists do anyway. So me understanding all of this, let's put this together. Let's build this thing. And we decided to set it up as a technology play rather than a nonprofit. So we built this platform, spendefy.com. The site is still up. And we're like doing some things behind the scenes to revamp like even the concept behind it. But right now it operates as a business directory. So we built this beautiful site. We got thousands of businesses that signed on, and we launched in different markets in different cities. So you got like Spendefy Atlanta, Spendefy New York, Spendefy LA, and it's businesses in those cities where you can go online and you can find those businesses and shop with them. And that was like phase one of it. And, we went viral as a site and got all this public attention, but it was tough because we couldn't get funding. And they say only 2% of venture capital goes to Black and brown owned businesses or minority owned, which also include women owned businesses. Only 2% of venture capital at that time. So we were trying to raise capital so we can fund this thing to scale it. And we couldn't get anybody to bust a grape. Like, most people wanted to either get too much equity or they felt like we were too early. And I'm like, what do you mean too early? There are guys out here that are launching ideas that are like stupid, and they'll raise $1 million on some game or some whatever. What we're doing is a huge solution, and there's a need and there's interest.
Right.
But we just couldn't raise the capital. So we bootstrapped it as much as we could. And we're in a chapter right now. We're having to kind of revamp like what we're going to build long term. And I got some ideas I won't share because it's kind of like confidential, but just in terms of what we want to do to really connect our dollar here with Africans all over the world, where you could actually be able to spend different globally with Black-owned brands and organizations. So that's where we are with it. And I think the mission is still like the mission at the end of the day, which is to spend different.
Yeah, got you. And you were also featured in Ebony Magazine in 2016. How was that for you?
Yeah, they did like I think a page or 2-page spread on us. It was crazy. Like you realize that when you get caught up in the wave of like publicity and press, like these entities want to ride the wave with you because it's attention. They're all going after attention. So they reached out to us, Black Enterprise. We had various like media news outlets that reached out. It was an exciting time to just get that kind of respect, especially from them, because, they do so much to like shed light and bring, awareness to Black businesses and brands and with their festival and everything. So it was a thing that I think I'll never forget, that chapter of like attention. But what I learned was that attention comes and goes. Like you're hot in the moment you're hot, but if you don't leverage that moment, it will be out of here. Like you the thing for the week, and then they're moving to the next thing. And so we built a lot of relationships during that time that we still stay connected with. But it was a learning process because you realize like you can literally be a nobody, and then literally overnight with the right amount of press, like you get cut. Like our site went viral. Like we had several 100,000 people visit the site in a matter of like an hour. And this was before the CNN thing happened, because people were sharing our site online, because this was right after Alton Sterling and Philando were killed. That's when the whole like, we need to shop Black, we need to control our dollar, and our site got picked up in like social media, and people started sharing it, and it went viral. And then CNN reached out to us, and then we got on there, and then Black Enterprise, all these entities started coming around to want to feature our story. So I mean, it was an exciting time, to say the least.
Yeah, definitely. Now, you have learned so much. You share so much today, and I'm sure you've learned so much. What's one thing that you've learned that you could share and give someone some words of encouragement?
Ooh, okay, yeah. Words of encouragement. Well, I would say, there's a lot of noise and there's a lot of people doing a lot of things. And it's so easy to get caught up trying to mimic and copy what you see is successful. I think the first thing that I would say is you being here matters so much. Even to you, Carlton, I've watched your journey, man, and like seeing you from the college days when we were in college, even to where you are now, like there is room for you at the table. There is room for you at the table. And I think if we could kind of step back from just this anxiety of trying to like copy whatever we've seen everybody else doing and really get more in tune. Like I talk a lot about like the importance of alignment and practicing alignment, these kind of spiritual principles, because there's ideas and revelation around what's needed in the world all day long. There are all kinds of things that we need solutions to. And it don't even have to just be business. People doing different types of things. I just think my encouragement to whoever, whether you stuck at a job you hate or doing something you want to do or whatever, is to find a way to practice some level of stillness and alignment in your day-to-day to really get clarity around where you're going with your life. Like you're here for a reason, but why are you here? You're a necessity. There's a seat at a table or several tables that needs you there. But if you're in chaos, just stumbling around trying to do whatever or chase a bag or get whatever, you might even miss the revelation of your existence. And so that would be my challenge, is like sit down and shut up and quiet down enough, get out of the social media and really look at yourself and your skills and your passion and your interest and where is there alignment in that, and pursue a path that way and look for where there's a need in the marketplace. Where's there a need for where you could bring and build around that, because I think that brings the ultimate fulfillment. Because at the end of the day, we're all going to transition out of here, and it had better been your life should have meant something for being here. That should have been a reason why you came up on the planet, not just to consume. So that's my encouragement. You matter, and there's room for you at the table.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that. If people want to learn more about you, or they want to learn more about your plethora of businesses, how can they follow you, or how can they get more information?
Right. So you can follow my personal social. I'm at Antwon Davis. That's ANTWON Davis. You can follow me on social. You can pull me up. I'm Antwon Davis on everything. And you'll find my businesses through that, because if you get to my personal, then you'll see all the things that I have going on and blah 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 blah. But that's what I would say.
Well, Antwon, thank you so much for taking the time out today to talk with us. Thank you for sharing all of
Yes.
the plethora of things that you've shared with us. We definitely appreciate it. We take it to heart. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for this time, man. And good seeing you.
You too, man. You too. All right, everyone. I am Carlton T. Clay. This is Celebrate Black Excellence. We celebrate Black excellence every day. Have a good one.